Hello everyone, nubkeks here, welcome back to Nub Raids, and in today's video, unfortunately, Plarium has come out and said that they don't want to buff any of these guaranteed champions that you get from logging in and stuff like that early on in the game, and I tell you what, I could not disagree more. Couldn't disagree more. And what I'm going to do to help Plarium out, to bring them around to my side, I will do their job for them. And I will suggest in this video some buffs that you can give to most of these login champions to bring them a bit up to date. In my opinion, I think it'd be brilliant for, those newer players that you're still getting stuff that is relevant for 2025. I mean, is there a problem with rewarding a player who's played for 210 days with a good champion? Personally, no, I don't think so. I think that's a great idea, actually. I don't know why you wouldn't want to do it. So yeah, without any further ado, let's go. Let's start with the spiciest of the spicy, and then I'll go to some more reasonable stuff. First of all, let's talk about Arbiter. Ooh, number one, I'd love to see her visually get a little bit of an update to make her just a bit more high fidelity. Great design, up the quality a little bit, because she is arguably the most iconic champion, the face of Raid Shadow Legends in a big way. Funny enough, she absolutely is still relevant today in the end game, so she doesn't need any major buffs. But she's certainly been power crept a bit. I mean, she's one of the few champs in the game with 4 active skills, which is kind of unique. I will say as well, I am expecting, my guess is we'll see Void Mythicals, maybe at the end of this year, maybe next year. And I think when we do eventually see Void Mythicals, I'd expect a Supreme Arbiter or something like that as perhaps the first Void Mythical. I think it'd be pretty cool if it was like a free reward for whatever new content Void Mythicals come alongside. That could be kind of awesome. So we don't want to use up all of our ideas. That might actually go into the Void Arbiter. But still, a couple of quick changes I would make to Arbiter. Number one, I think for her A1 and A2, I think their effects are fine. I think just make these irresistible would be kind of cool. Like, especially for A2, that would be nice. An AoE with a 100% chance to decrease all enemy buff duration and make it irresistible. That's pretty sick. That makes it a way better move and gives you like a bit of a way to fight back against some of those buffs a bit more easily. And her A1, the irresistible weaken, and it just means, you don't have to build accuracy on this champion. You can focus on her health, on her speed, which is sort of what you do anyway. You kind of, half the time you sort of ignore these abilities, which is a bit of a pity. One thing about her that's interesting too, we could potentially buff her A3 a little bit. That could happen. It's not a great revive, but, it's good when you get the extra turn and you go straight into her A2, right? 30% HP, 20% turn meter is just pretty bad, but it's when you come in and then you heal them by 25, so now we're talking 55% HP is acceptable, and 20% turn meter plus 30, 50% turn meter is good. Then it's a good revive. It's not crazy, though, but it's good. I think, a small buff to this. Number one, we could just buff up these numbers a bit, make it 40% HP. It would still be low enough to trigger her heal over here. Make it, 25% turn meter. That could work. Another alternative would be to make it a Tagore style revive, where it does this stuff, but also puts out a little 20% HP shield on those allies as well. Because oftentimes you won't have the A3 ready, and there you go. If you want to make it spicier, guys, if you really want to spice it up, here we go. New passive. When she places a buff, and you could combine it with her giving a shield buff, or you could leave it just the increased attack. But when Arbiter places a buff on one of the starter champions, or like their ultimate or supreme or dark versions, give them a fervor buff. Fervor is a new buff. It only exists actually on the Hallowed Hilt, so it's very rare, and it's a 10% damage and 10% damage reduction buff. Only lasts for 1 turn. That'd be a nice little flavor thing, right? Because Arbiter really syncs up with the starter champs. It'd be kind of fun. It's not a big deal, but whatever. Give those starter champions a little bit of an extra buff when she's with them. Kind of cool, kind of fun. And again, another couple of alternatives could be adding some extra effects into the A3 if you really want to make her a lot more powerful. Extra turn if she revives 1 ally. Extra turn. If she revives 2 allies, you still get the extra turn, but it also resets her A3. That could be insane. And then maybe if she revives 3 allies or more, she gives them the fervor buff as well, or a shield buff as well. Something like that. Again, that would really push her power up a lot. Like, especially resetting her A3 would be kind of nuts. But that could be a fun way to, again, make her even stronger, because I think, you know, she really holds her value with the speed aura, the high base speed, and her A3. I feel like the rest of her kit is nice, but lags a little bit behind the modern game. So there you go, some spicy things. Let's jump on to the second most spicy one, Scyl of the Drakes. Again, visually, actually, look at, like, visually holds up so well. She's super cool, an amazing design. Again, one of the most iconic and beloved champions. Ash, we know you're out there. For Raid Shadow Legends, I think she's really, again, been power crept by the modern game, and I think a few buffs would be really nice for her. So, like, on her A1, she's got a 40% chance to decrease speed, 50% chance to decrease turn meter by 15%. Just a small buff, make it a 50% chance of decreased speed. It's not a big deal, but it's small. Again, just so it's a 50-50. Her A2, I think, more important. Double hit, each hit with a 20. That goes to 35% chance to stun. It's just not great in the modern game. We've got plenty of legendaries now with 3-turn cooldown, 100% chance to stun. Again, we won't go too crazy, but put it up to 50% when it's fully booked. 2 50% chances, so basically overall a 75% chance. 2 50% chances, you know, that you won't weak hit as well. You know, that's decent. I think that would be a nice upgrade. Going higher than that, you know, you could even go up to like 275% chances. That makes it extremely good. It's, yeah, very strong. Maybe too strong. I think 250% chances, though, there's really no harm in just doing that right away. Make Scyl more consistent. And I do think you could also make her A3 a 3-turn cooldown. I think that's something you could do. Just knock 1 cooldown off of it. A 4-turn cooldown single target revive in 2025. That's epic level. It's an epic level revive. You know, Rector Drath, that sort of thing. For a legendary, you know, I think 3-turn cooldown, like an Elva, for instance, has it for a single target revive, especially because Syl's revive is actually not that good. Doesn't have any turn meter. Ally protection's okay. I think that would be nice. 3-turn revive, and there you go. Scyl suddenly becomes a much stronger character, much more consistent at stunning, much more consistent at reviving, more consistent at decreased speed. She's not OP by any means, but she stays relevant for a lot longer. Okay, let's talk about some epics. Let's dive in straight away. And I think this would be a nice, really nice change for new players. Shaman, she's sort of renowned as being a pretty bad character, let's be honest. I think a few buffs to her would be nice. So her A1 is a 25 bucks to 35% chance to remove a random buff from the target. You know what? Make it a 50-50. Helps players, new players on the magic keep where you got to remove buffs. Not a huge deal, but it's just kind of nice. Let's make it happen. Why not? Helpful for Chimera, remove the increased speed. Some of the clan boss things, fine. For A2, the small increased crit rate on a 3-turn. Again, for an epic, I mean, consider you've got someone like Farrakhan the Fat with increased crit rate, increased crit damage, and an ally attack, albeit on a longer cooldown. I mean, we don't need to make her crazy. At the very least, 30% crit rate buff. Very helpful for new players then. Actually a pretty big deal. You could even make it increase crit rate and increase crit damage. She could do both. There's no real reason not to, and then suddenly she'd actually become worth using. Her revive, I think, is fine. It's 5 turns. You could make it a 4-turn if you wanted to really buff her like crazy, but I would definitely be focusing on making the A1 actually semi-consistent at 50% and making this, at the very least, a big increased crit rate. And I would also say, just throw in the increased crit damage as well. Make it happen. Let's go crazy. Why the heck not? Over in the Lizards, Jizoh, who you get for, I think it's 2 weeks in the game. He's actually a decent champ for Hydra, and I do like he's got great base resist, so you can build him as the self-buffing mischief tank, who's also landing provokes. I think it's pretty good. I do just one small, simple change to him, which would make him really great. Lower this from a 5 to a 4-turn cooldown. That easy. That easy. It effectively makes it a 3-turn cooldown because he gets an extra turn, and then he'd have like a proper 3-turn rotation of self-buffs, go in with the provoke, do a couple of A1s, and then he's back in self-buff, extra turn into his provoke. Yeah, I think it's a small change, but it just really streamlines his kit. And yeah, I mean, it's a small boost to his early game, and then it becomes quite nice in the mid game when you can actually build enough resistance. That's really hard to do, by the way, really hard. But when you can build enough resistance, that becomes great for Hydra, especially with how they make provoke now target properly on auto, so that he will provoke Head of Decay. I think it'd be a great little change and make Jizoh just easier to use. and streamline it. Streamline it a bit, keep him relevant. But he's a good champion. Over then to Khatun, your 1 month login champion. I've driven people crazy saying I feel like she's been power crapped. But I'm sorry, you just can't handle the truth, man. It's the truth. She has been power crapped. Here's how I would buff her. Simple enough for A1. Give her the Scyl treatment as well. 40% chance when booked of decreased speed is just really Make it 50%. It's still, 50% is still not great, but at least it feels more intuitive. It's more It's just a 50-50. I think it's easy to understand, and that's pretty appropriate, honestly, for a 1 month champion. Her A2 is a great move, really strong. Her A3, this definitely needs a buff. AoE attack, 50 bucks to 75%. Chance to decrease turn meters by 15%. Guys, 100% chance. Bam. Job done. You could even lower it to a 3-turn cooldown. We could make this a 3-turn cooldown, and that would be great. It's not even that crazy. Like, you consider like a Deacon Armstrong or something. This isn't that great. You know what? Let's do it. 50% chance decrease speed A1. 100% chance turn meter pushback on our A3. 3-turn cooldown. Job done. Khatun, much better champion. Jumping over to a champion who I think has been bad literally since the game came out. He's never been good. He's a meme. Yaga the Insatiable. It's a pity. Basically, with these early login champions, they were clearly designed to help you target a different area of the game. So Yaga is clearly supposed to be the Demon Lord and Dragon champion. We're going to see Dark Athel or Dark Athel, I think is the proper name. Dark Athel, clearly supposed to be for Spider, but she's terrible. Lordly Legionary, clearly supposed to be for a Fire Knight, but he's not great either. We're going to look at buffing all of them. So Yaga, 50-50 of big poison on his A2. That's okay. We could even up that. We could even increase that, I think. But 50-50, we can leave it. I think it's A2 I'd be more focused on here. Double hitter, each hit, 50% books to 75% chance of big poison for 2 turns on a 4-turn. This is so out of date, it's not even funny. Here's what we do. Double hitter, each hit books to 100% chance of poison, and it's a 3-turn cooldown move. There we go. Much, much better. His A3 does hit pretty hard. Let's spice it up. Let's make it sexier. Damage increases by 50% against targets under poison. Make it a bigger deal. And that, I think, is nice, simple, and straightforward. So he's putting out a consistent amount of poisons on his A2, and then the dude really hits hard on his A3. I think that would be a nice little change. He's not going to be insane, but it makes him actually usable. Whereas right now, he's such a trap champion. Dark Athel is next. Dreadful champion. So she is clearly, look at this move. If she kills 4 enemies, increase speed. Heals her if she kills 6. Extra turn if she kills 10 or more enemies. Now, you guys watched our free-to-play challenge. People are pushing up towards Spider 20, where killing the Spiderlings already becomes irrelevant. People are pushing up to that in month 2. What is this champion doing? You get this champion at 90 days after 3 months. Highly unlikely you're still going to be progressing on Spider. I think that she does a couple of good things. Let's focus in on that. So her A1, 50-50 of decreased defense. That's fine. Her A2, easy to improve this. So right now it's an AoE with a 75% chance when booked of decreased speed on a 4-turn when booked. Super out of date for the current meta. 100% chance for decreased speed on a 3-turn cooldown. Bam. Job done. It's actually quite hard to get good decreased speed champions. For epics, there's not a ton of them. That makes her immediately relevant to players and a much better champion. Her A3 needs a complete rework. This is very irrelevant. I would say, 4-turn cooldown AoE attack is fine. Make it always give herself increased speed. Why not? And why not give her like a 15% or 20% turn meter pushback if she kills 1 or 2 enemies? Like, let's say she kills 2 enemies, pushes back all enemies' turn meters by 20%. Cool. Great. And I think now you've got a simple and fairly simple kit, but she's good against Spider. A consistent decreased speed champ for Spider. She's self-buffing increased speed, so she'll keep it up fairly consistently. A couple of AoE attacks. Should be decent for Hydra as well. Again, nothing crazy, nothing spectacular, but turns her from years out of date to at least being, something that's perhaps worth considering. Lordly Legionary. This is a cool champ, but yeah, he needs a little bit of a rework. as well. Where is he? I'm blind. He is here. Yeah, there he is. He's blue. I thought he was red because he's on fire. Cool champ. Looks like he came straight out of Dark Souls 3. What, Abyss Watchers? Am I right? Yeah. Pity he's really not good, unfortunately. A couple of changes I do for him. His A1's actually pretty cool. Double hitter. Extra hit if the target's under 50% heal reduction. 2 extra hits if they're under 100%. It's probably fine like that. I mean, who even does 50% heal reduction? I don't even know. You could probably just make it repeats the attack if the enemy's under any heal reduction. Full stop. Would probably be better. So just double hitter, repeats the attack if the enemy is heal reduction. And then, simple enough, his A2 is a decent move. Single target attack, decrease speed, and 20% turn meter decrease as well. I would make it just flat 20%. Don't have the condition, just decrease speed, decrease turn meter 20%, and heck, even make this place heal reduction. So you get decreased speed, heal reduction, and a little bit of turn meter pushback. It's a lot in a move, but hey, why the heck not? Just make it happen. It's a good move. And his A3, I would go spicy on this. So it's a 4-turn cooldown, reflect damage, and a continuous heal for 2 turns. Good for Fire Knight. Make it spicy. Let's make it very spicy. 30% reflect damage, and a 1-turn counterattack buff. Let's do it! Make it happen. Listen, 1-turn counterattack isn't too crazy, but you go into a Fire Knight, you speed tune your team. I think it's pretty appropriate for the point in the game that you get him. Make him just slightly faster than the Fire Knight, and then you set it up with the AI presets so that he puts up reflect damage, a little counterattack on your team right before the Fire Knight goes. Your team all counterattacks, reflect damage, take the shield down. Then he comes in with a decreased speed heal reduction, and then he starts slamming him with the A1. And there you go. It's really helping players out with Fire Knight. Again, this doesn't help with Fire Knight hard. All that, I mean, it does help, but it's not crazy. You still need freezes. You still need a bunch of stuff. But it makes him a much better champion. Maybe I'm giving him too much. Maybe I am giving him too much. We could take away the turn meter decrease and do decreased speed heal reduction just on its own. So decreased speed heal reduction. Yeah, you could even increase the cooldown on this if it sounds too powerful. I would say stick with the 2 turns reflect damage. Make it just the 1-turn counterattack. It's not that useful for anything else. It is really just, for the Fire Knight. But it would be nice. And then finally, because if we look at this, there's a few champions I think don't need a buff. I think Dark Elhain is really good. I think she's fine. I think Grush the Mangler, I think he's fine. I think Vizix is extremely good. Phoenix Hate Flower then would be the final one I'd buff. I think I'm one of the only players I've ever seen ever use this champion. And again, she's good because she does a little bit of healing, not much, but she is one of those rare sources of AoE decreased speed, which is good. Again, you're getting her months into the game. She definitely needs to do a lot more. I mean, just simple changes. I think it's simple enough. Her A1, double hit her at random, heals allies by 3% of her HP with each hit on targets under decreased speed. I mean, make that 5%. Not a big deal. It's not that much. It's not that crazy. I'd make a bigger change to her A2. This is, she puts AoE decrease speed if she crits. No. Get rid of that. Let's really simplify this character. Make it heal her for 30% of her HP and just place AoE decrease speed. Forget about crit. So she becomes a much more simple character. And her passive, she reduces the damage allies receive by 5%. She takes the damage. Up that to 10%. Make it stronger. It's not even that strong, but make it stronger. So she becomes a much more simple champion. You build her fast. She'll need accuracy anyway, so fast with some accuracy, as much HP as you can. She'll be tanking lots of damage, but healing herself to keep herself alive here. She provides AoE decreased speed, and then she's providing some decent healing to your team. She's still not going to be crazy OP or anything like that, but again, this is a champion right now that people ignore. There's no point to her. I think that more simple, keep your team alive, sustain herself, AoE decreased speed. It's a simple kit, but it is actually at least somewhat useful. That's what I would do there. A couple of I think I threw in some spicy ones like Lordly Legionary, AoE counterattack. That's pretty spicy. And we had some spicy stuff for Arbiter. I think other than that, honestly, it's really just bringing these champions up to being relevant is my genuine opinion on it. Let me know what you think. If you have any suggestions, if I had any stupid things I said that I missed that was obvious, please let me know. If you have any suggestions, any alternative stuff, again, let me know. Let me know what you think. Do you think these champions need buffs as well? How would you do it? I'm curious what you think. And guys, thanks for watching. We could come back and talk more about the other login champions. I said for this video, we'll keep it just to like the sort of the first year champions. And I don't think, I think you could get like Lydia, Mithrala in the first year as well, for sure. But I don't think they need buffs. I think they're brilliant. They're really good. And I think Empress, the mythical, you could probably get in the first year as well. And I think he's really good too. So they're fine. But these, I mean, it's crazy to think that you could be getting Mithrala. And then it's like, how does Tanix fit in when you've got Mithrala? It's just, doesn't quite check out. That's my thoughts. Thanks for watching, everyone. I will see you all next time. Goodbye.